you have seen conditions all around the world in a lot of T20. How do these compare to conditions you faced over your career?
Oh, they don't compare to anything that I've faced in my career. These are as difficult as conditions that I've ever seen for 2020 cricket. 120s 120s like 190 in anywhere else. It's extremely difficult place to try and bat. We've seen all the spinners and even the seamers. As soon as they start bowling slow balls, it's really hard work. It's holding in the surface and it's gripping and turning, and it's a big ground as well. So really hard to get any sort of rhythm or continuity as a batsman. So it's certainly been different cricket. It's been, but yeah, in terms of getting in a rhythm or any kind of flow, it's been pretty hard.
Do you think it's good for T20 cricket, or do you think it's just you can't really have too many of these? I know we've got 5 in 7 days because of COVID and all that, but do you think it's good for T20?
Well, they've been exciting games for sure, but I don't think that's why 2020 was invented. 2020 was invented to see plenty of sixes and lots of runs. So in terms of that, it certainly hasn't been a spectacle, but from a cricket perspective, it's been they've been interesting games. There's only it puts so much more emphasis on every ball of the game that each boundary or trying to save a one here and there just becomes so much more important and can have such a big effect on the game.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Mel,
did you when you're out there and with the conditions that you played in there, how are they compared to the UAE where the T20 World Cup is going to be played, and is playing in those sorts of conditions really any useful preparation for batsmen going into the UAE?
Good question. I don't think they're going to be anything like it. Having played a little bit in the UAE, I think we'll get, say, somewhere like Sharjah where you get a bit of dew at night time, and it's quite a small ground, so it's a 220 can be a winning score there. Maybe at Dubai or Abu Dhabi, they might be a bit slower, but they're still sort of 170, 180 wickets normally. So I don't think we're going to see too much of that over there. In saying that, though, there's an IPL on before the World Cup, so there might be some worn tracks, but I think they're pretty used to getting them back up for games there. So I think there've certainly been things we can take out of these games from a batting perspective. You have to be so precise with your plans and your technique and trying to score runs in these conditions. It's been great for the spinners. Our spinners have got a lot of confidence out of the way they've bowled, and also it's meant that our seamers have had to work a lot on their slower balls as well to be effective here. So certainly some things we can take from this tour.
Yeah. But just in terms of there's no like-for-like direct comparison on what you could expect.
I don't think so, Mel. No, I don't think we're going to have any. I highly doubt that we're going to have any grounds in the UAE where 120 is going to be a winning score.
Yep. No worries, mate. Thanks.
No worries.
Mel Farrell.
Hey, Dan, I'm just wondering how you've sort of seen this tour for yourself personally. You've been back in the ODI side. There have been times when it's felt like perhaps you haven't had as much time out there with the bat in particular to be able to perhaps stake your claim and with the ball sometimes as well. So what have you made of this series for you or this tour for you personally?
Yeah, you're right. It has been a little bit stop-start for me, but I think that's just the nature of the format and the role that I play. It's generally coming in towards the end and bowling some overs in the middle. So it's not always it's not an easy role to get any kind of continuity in. So it's been I've really enjoyed. I've loved being back in the Australian team and being around the group and representing my country again. It's been awesome. So and you've just got to from a cricket perspective, I guess I've just got to keep training well and keep trying to prepare as well as I can and when that opportunity arrives, I'm able to grab it. So yeah, I think it's just the nature of the format really that means that you can't I can't kind of get that continuity, like I said.
And just obviously, it must have been frustrating in the previous game, particularly with Mustafizur Rahman bowling the way he did, and really stifling you and Alex towards the end. Was there a sense, in a way, I guess, with the series lost and you coming in when you did, was there almost a sense of freedom in that, in just being able to go for it?
Yeah, I guess, but that's these surfaces. We've been, well, apart from me getting a couple tonight, but no one's going at 6 and over has been a winning score pretty comfortably. So when I came in last night needing 12s against an old ball and 5 out on the fence, and it's a big ground as well. It was it's pretty hard work against Mustafizur. It probably doesn't get any more difficult than that at any level in anywhere in the world than facing that kind of bowling here.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Mel.
No worries.
We'll finish off with Adrian and Warren. Adrian, you got some questions?
Yep. Dan, well done. You've probably crossed paths with Shakib Hasan at a few occasions across all the different leagues you've played in there. Did you make a specific effort to target him, or was it just the time you came in?
No, there was no. I have played a bit against Shakib, and he had a year in the Big Bash, I think, and I've played against him in the IPL a few times. But no, that was just the way that overpanned out, really. And yeah, my role was just to come out and try and get as many as I could, as quickly as I could, and try and break the back of that chase and make it a bit easier for the guys coming in later on. So yeah, no specific plan to go at Shakib. I guess I just got a bit lucky that over and got a few out of the middle of the bat. And I suppose that's the beauty of batting in the power play as well. There's only 2 fielders out, so you can play with a little bit more freedom.
What do you think this does for the morale of the side? I mean, you've been close in some of the other games, but to get across the line in this one?
Yeah, it'll be great for the group. We don't feel like we've been playing that badly. We've been bowling really well, and we've put some really good partnerships together. Mitchell Marsh has been batting brilliantly all series, all tour really in the West Indies as well. Moses played really well in a couple of games. It's just been, the conditions have been really tough. So yeah, to get over the line was really pleasing. They're a really good team here, Bangladesh, in their conditions. These are, like I said earlier, these are probably the toughest conditions you'll get anywhere in the world, and they're able to exploit them really, really well.
And finish off, just a few words of appreciation for Mitch Swepson's effort. Like yourself, he's probably had limited opportunities with the ball on this tour.
Yeah, he's been bowling beautifully in the nets. He's bowled really, really well in the nets, and it's great to see him grab that opportunity. In one of the games he played in St. Lucia, I thought he bowled really well there too. So great for Mitch to get that opportunity tonight. He's been sort of travelling around with this Australian team for a long time now. He was in the Test squad over the summer and didn't get a game there. So it's great to see him. All that hard work behind the scenes getting rewarded on the field tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
No, this is a more generic question about Australia and T20 cricket. I've just been wondering, we've seen a lot of new guys put their hand up and get a few opportunities in these last 2 tours. The BBL is pretty much the only space for them, for a young T20 player to come through the ranks. But do you think there is a scope at any point to have a secondary T20 tournament just involving the states like India do, just so that you kind of widen the scope and maybe there are more talents that just pop up?
I don't think so, mate. It's our domestic schedule at home is pretty congested as it is with the Sheffield Shield, and even our one-day tournaments ended up having to shrink over the last few years due to the popularity and the size of the Big Bash. We do have a baby bash each year. Actually, I'm not sure if that was on last year due to COVID, but normally that's on. That's like a second 11 comp, but it's also made up of a few of the guys that don't play Sheffield Shield that are in the Big Bash. So I guess that's a chance for some of the guys to show their wares. I suppose that's one of the beauties though of guys being able to travel around the world and being able to play in some of the other tournaments like your PSL and the blast in England and the CPL. It's the guys that are able to do that, they're getting exposed to the different conditions and some of the other world-class players around the world too. So any chance that anyone gets to do that, I think they should be trying to go, but I guess.
Cheers, then.
Thanks,
so
Brett.
much.